The stars had always spoken in radio waves, pulses, and light. But now they were silent for thousands of years. The galaxy had wondered why it was so empty, why no new voice ever replied to the endless messages sent across space. They called it the Fermi Paradox, a mystery that no empire could solve. The Galactic Council, made up of hundreds of advanced species, gathered once again inside the crystal dome on the planet Terralon. Each race spoke about theories. Some believed life was rare, some believed it destroyed itself, and others claimed the universe was simply too big to notice. And in the far corner of the chamber, the humans sat quietly, listening. Humanity was still new to the stars, barely a century into interstellar travel, yet their curiosity burned brighter than any sun. When it was the human representative's turn to speak, a young scientist named Dr. Mira Holt stepped forward. She looked too young, too human, among the ancient species who had ruled the stars for eons. Her voice was calm but firm as she said, "Maybe the silence is not natural. Maybe someone made it that way." The chamber filled with laughter, a harsh sound from alien throats. The Arcanth High Chancellor leaned forward, his blue eyes glowing. "You think the void is hiding something?" Mira nodded. "Not hiding, silencing," she said. "We have detected faint cosmic echoes, repeating energy bursts across dead systems, as if something erased them." "Ridiculous," another alien shouted. "The humans and their ghost stories again." But Mira didn't flinch. She tapped her wrist console and the hologram above the table changed, showing entire sectors of the galaxy, each one once home to civilizations that had now vanished. "These worlds," she said, "they didn't die naturally. They were wiped clean, same pattern every time." The council's laughter faded slowly. Replaced by uneasy murmurs, her final slide appeared, showing a strange waveform, repeating in intervals of 13 seconds. "This signal," she said, "came from the edge of known space, and it matches an ancient human code." The room froze. "Impossible," whispered the Xinthian delegate, whose species had recorded galactic history for 10 million years. No human signal could be that old. But Mira only looked down, her voice trembling. "That's what I thought too." Later that night, Mira stood alone in the observation deck of the human embassy on Terralon. Stars shimmered beyond the glass, endless and cold. Her tablet replayed the signal again and again. A short, rhythmic transmission, ancient Morse code. 3 short beeps, 3 long, 3 short again. SOS, a call for help, but from where? She leaned closer to the glass, whispering to herself, "Who sent it? A human colony? A probe?" Behind her, Captain Elias Ward, commander of Earth's Stellar Defense Fleet, entered quietly. "You're making the council nervous," he said, crossing his arms. "They already think humans are troublemakers." Mira smiled faintly. "Good. Maybe trouble is exactly what the galaxy needs." Elias frowned. "You're suggesting this silence is a weapon?" She nodded slowly. "Not a weapon. A warning." He stared at her for a long moment. "A warning from who?" "Maybe," she said softly. "From us." Her words hung in the air, strange and impossible. How could a young race like humanity have anything to do with something billions of years old? But the pattern in the data was clear, and her instincts screamed that the signal meant more than a coincidence. Something or someone had built this silence, and it was tied to Earth the next morning. She presented her findings to the United Earth Command through a secure channel. Admiral Reyes, an old soldier with deep scars and cold eyes, watched the presentation silently. When she finished, he said, "So you think the galaxy's graveyards are connected?" "Yes, sir," she replied. "And whatever caused them is moving again." He leaned forward. "Moving?" "Our deep space telescopes picked up faint energy fluctuations," she said, showing a new map. "Like something scanning. Searching?" Reyes stared at the glowing dots on the screen, each one marking a dead system. Then he spoke quietly. "If this is true, then we need to prepare." Mira nodded. "We already started decoding the full signal. It's not complete, but I think it's trying to tell us where it began." Hours later, aboard her research ship Orion, Mira sat surrounded by holoscreens filled with ancient symbols and waveforms. The AI assistant projected the latest analysis. Transmission origin unknown sector, uncharted coordinates, deep in the Perseus Veil. Her heart pounded. "Patch me through to Captain Ward," she ordered. "We're going hunting." The ship's engines roared to life. blue plasma trail stretching across the darkness. As the Orion left Terralon's orbit, Mira gazed at the stars. She felt something deep inside her, an instinct older than fear for the first time. She realized that the galaxy wasn't silent. It was listening, and whatever had silenced it before was waking up again. The research ship Orion drifted through the cold expanse, its engines whispering against the void. Inside, Dr. Mira Holt stared at the endless darkness ahead, her mind racing with the thought that somewhere, hidden beyond the stars, lay the answer to the galaxy's greatest mystery. For weeks, she and her crew followed the strange signal, deeper and deeper into uncharted space. Every calculation, every reading pointed to one truth. The signal was coming from a place no map dared to show. They reached the edge of the Perseus Veil, a massive dust cloud that swallowed entire fleets. No one had ever returned from it, but humanity had never turned back from the unknown. Captain Ward gave the order. Activate deep scan. Full spectrum. The scanners hummed, light flickering across the ship's control panels. At first they found nothing but static, then a low pulse appeared on the radar, steady and rhythmic like a heartbeat. Source detected, said the ship's AI. Distance 0.7 light-years. Mira leaned forward, eyes wide. That's it, the origin of the SOS. The Orion moved closer, cutting through the fog of cosmic dust. Then suddenly the darkness cleared, and a planet appeared before them, a small, gray world hanging lonely in space. Its surface was smooth, lifeless, and covered in strange circular burns. By the stars, whispered Captain Ward, it looks like it's been erased. They landed near the equator, stepping out into a world that felt wrong. No wind, no sound, not even the hum of energy in the air. The soil was glassy, melted by extreme heat. Mira knelt and scanned it with her wrist console. These aren't natural marks, she said quietly. This was precision work. Ward looked around, scanning the horizon. By who? Mira's scanner beeped and she froze. There's structure buried here. Under 10 meters of fused stone. Within hours, the crew began digging, uncovering metal plates, tunnels, and bones, but the bones weren't alien. They were human. Ward stared at the remains, shock spreading across his face. Human DNA confirmed? Mira nodded slowly, her voice shaking. Yes, humans were here, but that's impossible, Ward said. Humanity wasn't spacefaring until 100 years ago. Unless, Mira whispered, we were here before. They unearthed a black monolith with the emblem of Earth Defense Directorate. The metal was ancient, its edges corroded by time. Yet it carried human markings, coordinates, mission codes, and a name. Project Sentinel. Back aboard the Orion, Mira accessed the file embedded inside the monolith. It was fragmented, but the message was clear. If you're hearing this, they're still out there. We fought them once. We silenced the stars to survive. The room went quiet. Ward looked at Mira, disbelief in his eyes. We silenced the stars? She nodded, tears forming. That's why no one answers. That's why the galaxy is empty. Someone, maybe us, made it empty. When they returned to the Galactic Council with the data, chaos erupted. The alien delegates shouted over each other, demanding explanations. The Xinthian scholar slammed his claws on the table. Are you saying the humans created the Great Silence? Mira stood firm. No. I'm saying someone used the same technology humanity once had. The same pattern appears on dozens of extinct worlds. Everyone wiped out by the same energy signature. The Valorian warlord growled. And now it's moving again? Mira nodded. The signal's intensity increases every week, as if it's scanning, looking for civilizations that broke the silence. A heavy silence fell over the chamber. Then a delegate from the Rin Collective whispered, "But we never stopped transmitting." The council froze. Everyone turned toward the Rin representative. He continued, voice trembling. "Our homeworld emits energy waves to stabilize our orbit. If this thing is hunting signals." Before he could finish, the entire chamber's lights flickered. An emergency broadcast appeared on every hologram. Static, then a screaming voice. "Rin Prime.
Under attack!"
The sky is burning." The message cut off one by one. Alien monitors displayed live feeds, all showing the same thing. A blue-white light consuming the Rin system. Stars dimming, ships disintegrating mid-flight, then nothing. The Rin system was gone, not destroyed, erased. No debris, no radiation, no trace of life. Just a dead void where once a civilization had stood. Mira stood frozen, hands trembling. It's the same pattern, she whispered, the same weapon. The same silence. Ward turned to her, his voice grim. How do we stop something that can erase stars? She looked back at the hologram of the vanished system. I don't think we can stop it, she said quietly. Not yet. But maybe, she added, her eyes narrowing. We can remember how we stopped it before. As the council fell into chaos, Mira walked away, her thoughts racing. If ancient humans had silenced the galaxy once, it meant they had faced this enemy and won. The key wasn't out there in the stars. It was hidden in human history, she whispered to herself. We didn't solve the Fermi Paradox. We became it. Outside, deep in the void, the scanners aboard the Orion picked up something new. Another signal, stronger than before, coming from inside the Milky Way. Its message was short but clear. They found us. The galaxy trembled after the fall of Rin Prime. One moment it had been a shining empire, filled with billions of lives, and the next, it was gone, erased from the map. No explosion, no survivors, no signals, only silence. Every empire in the Galactic Council now looked at humanity with new fear. Because somehow the signal that warned them had been written in human code. Dr. Mira Holt sat inside the command chamber of the Orion, her eyes fixed on the repeating pulse on the screen. It was the same rhythm, the same ancient Morse pattern. But this time, new fragments had appeared. The AI translated it slowly, projecting the words into the air. They woke the machine, run. Silence it again before it hears you. Captain Ward stood behind her, voice low. This message, it's not from the past, is it? Mira shook her head slowly. No, Captain, this is being broadcast now. Ward's expression darkened. Then someone out there is still alive. Someone who knows what's coming. Back on Earth. Panic spread through the United Earth Command. Every telescope. Every listening array focused on the sector where Rin Prime once was. They found only emptiness. A perfect void, not even background radiation. Admiral Reyes ordered full signal lockdown across human space. All transmissions, all beacons. Everything goes dark, he said. If this thing hunts signals, we go silent, but it was already too late. The Orion received another fragment of the mysterious message. More corrupted, filled with static and ancient codes. When decoded, it revealed coordinates. Mars. Mira's heart stopped. That's impossible, she whispered. The origin is coming from Mars. Within days, the Orion returned to the Sol system. Descending into the red dust storms of Mars, humanity had built colonies here centuries ago, but most were now abandoned. At the edge of Valles Marineris, deep beneath the canyons, they found it, an underground vault sealed in black alloy. The door bore the emblem of the Old Earth Defense Directorate. Above it, a faded inscription in English, Project Sentinel, access restricted. Mira placed her hand on the scanner, and the old system flickered to life. Dust fell from the walls as the door slowly opened, revealing a massive chamber filled with ancient machinery. The air was thick and dry, screens glowed weakly, powered by fusion cores that had somehow survived for thousands of years. On one wall they found a console still active. Mira brushed away the dust and pressed the activation key. The holographic image of a man appeared, dressed in a uniform unlike any known military design. He spoke in a tired voice. Distorted by time, if you're seeing this, the silence has failed. We thought erasing our presence from the stars would be enough. We were wrong. Mira's breath caught. The hologram continued. We fought them long ago. Machines that feed on signal, on knowledge, on consciousness itself. They hear technology like predators hear sound. They hunt civilizations that shine too brightly. We built the Fermi silence and a galactic dampening field to hide life. We erased ourselves from memory. We left this warning for the next us. Captain Ward stepped forward, whispering. The next us. The hologram's eyes turned toward them, almost aware. If humanity rises again, you must not repeat our mistake. If you hear the forbidden signal, do not answer it. Then the image flickered and vanished. The chamber lights went out, and for a long moment only silence remained. But then the AI on Mira's wrist blinked with a red warning. Transmission detected, it said. Source deep space, identical to the forbidden signal. Mira's heart pounded. Patch it through, she said. The speakers crackled with a haunting whisper, metallic and cold. Found you! The room shook violently as the ground quaked. Dust and debris falling from the ceiling, Ward shouted. "Shields up! We've been located!" Mira ran toward the exit, yelling over the alarms. "It can trace energy use. Shut everything down!" But it was too late. Outside, the Martian sky turned dark as a massive shape blotted out the sun. It wasn't a ship, it was something larger. A structure moving through space. A swarm of silver machines stretching across the horizon. Admiral Reyes's voice came through the comms. Breaking with static, "Mira, get out of there." "It's heading for Mars!" Ward ordered immediate evacuation as their shuttle lifted off. Mira looked down and saw the machines descending like a storm, erasing everything they touched. The colony below turned black. The surface turning glass smooth, just like Rin Prime. The Orion escaped orbit just as Mars vanished from radar. Mira stood silent, tears glimmering in her eyes. "We're running out of time," she whispered. Ward looked at her. "Then what now?" She stared at the last image on her console, the hologram's warning, frozen mid-sentence. "Silence it again before it hears you." Mira clenched her fists. "We need to find the weapon they used last time," she said, voice shaking. "The Fermi silence wasn't just a shield. It was a weapon. And if we don't find it," she whispered, "the galaxy won't just be silent. It'll be gone." The red planet was gone. Mars, cradle of humanity's first steps into the stars, was now nothing more than a black scar in the void. The galaxy watched in silence. Every empire, every world, realized that the threat was real, and humanity was the only species that had seen it before aboard the Orion. Dr. Mira Holt stared at the empty space where Mars once existed. Her hands trembled as she replayed the hologram's words again and again. "We fought them once. Silence it again before it hears you." The message from the past echoed like a ghost in her mind. Captain Ward entered the command deck, his uniform still covered in Martian dust. "Earth Command is in panic," he said quietly. "Every major civilization has gone dark. Communications are collapsing." Mira didn't look up. "That's what it wants, Captain. Silence is survival." Ward sighed. "And yet we're the only ones who know why." At that moment, the ship's AI interrupted. "Incoming transmission encrypted." "Human origin." Mira turned sharply. "From where?" "Source below Earth's surface." Her eyes widened. "Below? That's impossible," but the signal was real, and its pattern was identical to the one found on Mars. Within hours, the Orion descended into Earth orbit, landing near the icy plains of Antarctica, beneath the frozen wasteland. Ancient scanners had detected a vast metallic structure, buried miles deep. They drilled through ice older than civilization, until metal finally rang beneath their boots. The crew uncovered a massive door, engraved with the symbol of the old Earth Defense Directorate, and below it, a single word written in faded paint. "Titan." Mira felt her heartbeat quicken. "Titan-class warship," she whispered. "It's real." Captain Ward's eyes narrowed. "The warship from the first silence?" She nodded. "The one that ended it." They opened the chamber and stepped into a world of shadows and steel. Endless corridors stretched before them, filled with machinery sleeping for thousands of years. Lights flickered weakly as they reactivated ancient power cores. And in the center of the vast underground hangar, it stood the Titan-class warship Prometheus, a ship so massive it filled the entire cavern. Its hull was black as obsidian, covered in human markings no one had seen for millennia. Its design was impossible, a mix of technology and something older, something that pulsed like it was alive. Mira's breath caught. This was built before the fall. When they entered the control chamber, they found another holographic message waiting. The same man from the Mars recording appeared, his face clearer this time. "This is Commander Aaron Holt, of the 1st Human Defense Fleet." Mira's eyes widened. "Holt." Her last name, the hologram continued. "If you're my blood, then listen well. The Prometheus carries the weapon that silenced the stars. But know this, it doesn't destroy the enemy. It buries everything." The recording flickered, showing flashes of a great war, giant fleets burning in space, planets falling silent one by one, massive machines devouring stars, and human warships detonating something bright enough to blind the galaxy. Then the hologram ended with one final warning. If the machines return, the only way to survive is to make the galaxy forget again. Mira stood frozen. "He knew," she whispered. "He knew this would happen again." Ward looked at her. "Holt." Your ancestor fought in that war? She nodded slowly. And he built this, she said, touching the ship's hull, the last weapon of the First War. The AI interrupted again. Incoming transmission. Galactic Council priority. The hologram of the Arkanth High Chancellor appeared, his voice full of panic. Mira Holt, the machines are spreading. 6 systems gone in the last hour. Mira clenched her fists. You have to go silent, all of you. No signals. No energy pulses. It's too late, the alien said. They are already here. Outside the cavern, the ground began to rumble. Sensors screamed as something vast approached from orbit. Ward shouted, They've tracked us. Mira ran to the Titan's control seat, shouting, Power it up, now! The engines of the ancient warship roared like thunder as light filled the cavern. The ceiling cracked, ice and rock exploding into the sky as the Prometheus rose from its tomb, from orbit. The sight was breathtaking, a forgotten human warship ascending from beneath the ice. Glowing with ancient fire, alien observers across the galaxy watched in awe and fear. For the first time in 10,000 years, the galaxy saw what true human power looked like. The machines above Earth turned toward it, forming a dark cloud of metallic horror. Mira activated the ship's central core, her ancestor's voice echoing through the speakers. Project Titan, final defense protocol online. Ward gripped the command rail. Mira, what does that mean? She stared ahead, determination burning in her eyes. It means, she said softly, we're about to remind the galaxy why they stopped talking. The Prometheus fired. A pulse of light brighter than a star erupted from its core, cutting through the machine swarm like a blade. Space itself rippled, and for a heartbeat, every communication across the galaxy went silent. Then the machines disintegrated, burned out by something beyond understanding. When the light faded, the Prometheus floated quietly above Earth. Its engines hummed softly, ancient but alive again. Mira looked at the quiet stars and whispered, This was never just a ship. It was a message. Ward turned to her. A message to who? She looked out into the void. To whatever's still listening, she said. The silence is not fear anymore. It's a warning. And somewhere far beyond the edge of the Milky Way, something stirred. Something that had heard the pulse of the Titan-class warship. Something that was coming. The galaxy was silent once more. But this silence was not peace. It was the deep breath before another storm. The Prometheus, humanity's Titan-class warship, floated above Earth like a ghost from forgotten history. Its black hull shimmered faintly against the dying stars, carrying the scars of battles older than the galaxy itself. Dr. Mira Holt stood on the command bridge, her reflection shining on the glass below her. Earth looked calm and blue. Unaware of the darkness gathering at its borders, Captain Ward approached quietly, his voice low. We stopped the machines here, but scanners show more of them. Thousands entering the galactic rim. Mira didn't turn. Then the first wave was only a test. She touched the control panel, awakening the ship's ancient core again. The AI voice of her ancestor. Commander Aaron Holt spoke from the speakers. Prometheus is ready. The failsafe sleeps within the sun, but once it wakes, there is no return. Ward frowned. Failsafe? What does that mean exactly? Mira's eyes were dark and steady. It means we can end this forever, or burn everything trying. The council sent desperate calls for help. Worlds screaming for salvation, but Mira knew the truth now. The Fermi silence was not a mystery, it was a sacrifice. Humanity had once silenced the stars to save all life, and now they would have to do it again. The Prometheus opened a worm gate near the sun, its engines roaring with light. Solar winds danced around its hull as it entered orbit. Deep within the sun's core, sensors detected something unnatural, a structure. Hidden for millions of years, Mira stared at the readings. It's real. The weapon. Ward crossed his arms. What kind of weapon could be built inside a star? Mira whispered. Not a weapon to destroy. A weapon to erase. As the Prometheus drew closer, ancient human technology came alive beneath the solar surface. Massive metallic rings rotated slowly inside the sun's plasma. Forming a perfect sphere of light, the AI's voice trembled. Solar construct Helios engine detected. Warning, activation will purge all advanced systems galaxy-wide. Ward stepped back, shocked. That would wipe out everything. Ships, AIs, tech, all of it. Mira nodded. That's the price. It's the only way to make the galaxy silent again. Outside, the darkness came. The machine swarm, Billions of metallic predators poured into the system. Blotting out the stars, they moved like a storm, surrounding Earth, Luna, and Mars's empty orbit. Each machine was feeding, growing, learning. Their signal pulsed across the cosmos, cold, mechanical, endless. It was the sound of hunger. The Galactic Council fleets arrived too late. Thousands of alien ships tried to fight, firing beams and missiles, but the machines absorbed everything. Ward watched the radar as dots vanished one by one. "They're losing," he said softly. "Everyone's dying." Mira closed her eyes. "Then we make it worth it." She placed her hand on the Titan's command core. The system recognized her DNA signature, the last of the Holt bloodline. "Authorization confirmed," the AI said. "Helios engine priming sequence initiated." A deep hum filled the ship as energy surged through every circuit. The sun began to change, its surface brightened, flaring with violent bursts of white fire. Across the galaxy, ancient machines and alien empires detected the surge. Some fled, others prayed, but there was no stopping it now. The machines in orbit realized too late. They turned toward the Prometheus, unleashing their full assault. Thousands of beams struck the ship. Tearing into its hull, the Titan shuddered. Alarm screaming, Ward shouted, "Shields down to 15%. Mira stood firm, blood trickling down her temple. "Hold position." "We're almost there." The AI's voice deepened. "Helios activation in 10 seconds. Ward looked at her. Voice breaking. "If this thing wipes all tech, we'll lose everything, our colonies, our ships, our future." Mira smiled faintly, tears in her eyes. "Then we'll build again. In peace." The countdown echoed through the ship. 10, 9, 8. The machines broke through the hull, swarming inside the corridors. Crew members fought desperately as sparks filled the air. 5, 4. The Prometheus engines exploded, shaking the ship apart. 3, 2. Mira placed her hand on the console, whispering to her ancestor's voice, "Let the galaxy sleep again." 1. The sun ignited. A wave of pure light burst outward, spreading faster than any signal, faster than any weapon. Every machine in its path froze, their circuits melting, their signals dying. Every ship, every station, every AI went dark. The wave spread through the Milky Way like a sunrise of silence. And then there was nothing. When Mira opened her eyes again, she stood on the surface of a quiet Earth. The sky was golden, the air warm, and the stars above were still. The Prometheus lay buried deep beneath the ocean. Its mission complete, humanity had survived, without technology, without power, but alive generations later. Children would look up at the silent night sky and wonder why the stars never spoke. They would never know that long ago the stars did speak, and humanity had answered once and for all. The galaxy called it the Fermi Paradox, but humans called it mercy.